Hi, I'm John Rowland with Highland Park, and what I'm going to show you today is how to install a new carriage in your high-tone 10-inch saw. This is also the same if you have an old Lortone 10-inch and you're putting one of our carriages into it as a retrofit. Basically, what we start you out with for a carriage retrofit kit is a couple of hardened rails. We use hardened steel because it lasts a long time. Feed screw and feed nut. Now we do our feed nut, our feed collar. We do it a little different. We put dual set screws on it because every now and then if they only have one, they come loose and it's a real pain in the ass when they come loose. Then front and rear brackets, and then the carriage assembly with a feed nut. And you'll notice our carriage assembly is different. It's cast iron. And basically, cast iron, because of the nature of cast iron on a hardened shaft, it has great wear capabilities. So we eliminated a lot of the stupid extra adjusting screws. We put a replaceable feed nut, cross feed nut in there, and then lock collars and bushings on this. So everything's really super smooth and very good tolerances, so you don't get a lot of slop in it. So when you get this and you go to install it, basically the first thing you're doing is you're going to put these guide rails in, the main way rails, and you got to make sure your feed nut's kind of on the upside position here. And I get these in close, and then your feed screw is going to go on the back side, so you don't put it on this way, you put it on this way. And I put it on a little bit extra because when you go to put this into the housing, you don't want it you want the bracket in there because you can't turn it easily. Now we can't put the feed screw in at this point in time because this goes into the housing. We get it all set in there, and then the feed screw goes in last. So to install the carriage, I have a square here, so I can get the top of the carriage level, and basically I've got my 4 bolts. Now I'm gonna, in this, because I'm gonna take it back apart and shoot a second video, I'm not gonna put any glue on this. We've taken this unit apart because we wanted to do this demonstration so people could see how to install these. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and install it. Normally you'd put your black silicone sealant here. It helps keep oil from weeping out, and although in this it goes back down the tray, but I like it when I keep it real clean on my saws. So I'm going to take it in here and I'm going to turn it sideways, and then these brackets can slide front to back. Now it's a lot easier if you have a friend to help you with this, but you can do it by yourself. You know, you grab this and you come up and you find your hole. And you get your bolts in. So I like to put the front ones in and then come around and do the back, because the front one's a little easier to reach. Back side I have to do a little bit by feel. As you can see, it's a little tricky with one person, so there it is. So I get these bolts on. Now what you can always do, so you don't make as much of a mess, is you can get your screws started like this and then come in and put your glue in after the fact, so you don't get glue all over yourself. Now what I like to do when I tighten this up is the holes have some adjustment in them, so I like to tighten it up so I'm as close to being in the middle as possible, so I know I'm as centered as I can be. Now, as you can see, I've got some movement here, and this is where my square comes in. What I want to do is I want to sight on this, and I'm going to look and see when I get it close to level. Now I can come back and I can put it against the opposite side. Of course, I have too long of a square, so I can't get against the opposite side, but it's usually pretty good if you are sighting off this and you line on the edge. So what I typically do is I slide my carriage forward, I line it here, because these rails allow some twist. So if I set it at the front and the back both, then I get the best results. So that's what I'm going to do next. I got to grab my wrench. I can cheat a little bit if I have a flat block of steel here, because I can line up right on that. And if you looking visually, you can align it super precisely, but the vertical element is not as this isn't as critical as your blade alignment. So I'm snugging the front down, and then I'll recheck it here. And it looks like a pretty consistent gap. Now I'm going to slide to the back, and I'm going to do a similar thing. I need to take my blade off though. It's not tight yet, so it makes it easy. Generally, you wouldn't have your blade on. Now you can see it's still moving in the back some. So this is where, again, be nice to have a buddy. So I'm going to get my buddy to tighten it up here. All right, so now we're tight. I'm going to recheck it. Now I can sight it. If I lay this thing straight across, I can sight to that edge, and I can see I'm very close to horizontal. Like I said, the tilt of the vise is not critical on a saw this size. You want it pretty close if you're doing some cubes or something like that, and it is adjustable. You get a smaller square and put this up against, but on this one, with the style of vise that it has, it definitely doesn't matter as much. So now we got the carriage set in here. It's ready to put the blade on and do the alignment. And we're going to do the alignment. So that's the next part that we're going to do here.